The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of the host and or Paranormal Buzz Radio and or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is prohibited. Paranormal Buzz Radio will not be held responsible for you holding your knees, crying, and rocking in a corner in a puddle of your own urine, or being beheaded by a group of children in a cornfield. In fact, if you come across a group of children in a cornfield, we promise to make fun of you as you run away screaming in terror. Listener discretion is advised. Caution. You are now entering the all-consuming realm of Shea's Paranormal Chat, where the things that are better left unsaid are actually said.
Shut up and sit down.
You're listening to Shea's Paranormal Chat. Paranormal podcasting done Shea's way. Tons of fun.
Dude, seriously?
A bit sarcastic.
Hashtag investigator, not hunter.
But always real.
Hashtag data, not evidence.
Don't get your panties in a twist.
Oh my god, really?
This is real, raw conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Hello, good evening, everybody. TGIF. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. I am alone tonight. Miss Kelly's over in I think it's Omaha, the Hauntacon. So it is me, and I have a helper. Kim's going to help make sure down there in chat, make sure I don't miss any questions tonight. Pretty excited about tonight. We have, and I actually said his name right the first time I tried. I'm so proud of myself, guys. We have Mr. Ron Yacovetti with us. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I actually never said my name right the first time I said it, so you're already one up on me here as we begin the show.
That's funny. It's funny because it's a joke. That's a question I get asked a lot, to say my name, because I can't say my first name and last name together. I can say Carol. My real last name's Carol, but I can't say my full name. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So you have quite the list of I don't know if accomplishments is right. What's the word I'm looking for?
Crimes, sins, infringements. There's got to be a word.
There has to be, but that wasn't the list I was talking about.
That's good. Okay, good.
Yeah. You want to tell everybody where you're from, the groups you're in? We'll start there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from where I now live, again, the state of New Jersey. And then I lived in Los Angeles for 14 years, from 2000 to 2014. So I've lived in New Jersey and Los Angeles, which for me makes fresh air about the same as the Tooth Fairy. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. But I started doing paranormal investigating when I lived in Los Angeles, going to public events that are run by good groups and stuff like, anywhere else. And then got asked to join a group called P-A-R-A, and was with them until I moved back to New Jersey. And then I was with Central Jersey Paranormal Research Group, which disbanded when the founding couple moved to Pennsylvania. And then I worked with a couple other groups on and off for a few months here and there. And I ended up now with Island Paranormal Society out of Long Island, New York, which is a fantastic group. It's led by a gentleman named Matt Haas, who's very experienced, 21 years or so doing this. 21 years of experience and zero ego, but he's as much a student. Yeah, he's as much a student of me as I am of him, even though he's been doing this longer than I have, which is the best people to work with if you get the chance to.
Yes.
The proverbial student and teacher in the same person. but I've had the chance to work with really cool groups like Barefoot Paranormal out of North Jersey, and who else? It'll come to me. There's so many. I've gotten a chance to work with some really, really cool groups and really cool people. There's groups I still haven't gotten to work with, but I want to. Reap Paranormal, run by Bill Reap. That's a group I want to get something on the calendar with this year, if I can. So
that will be fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to working with a lot of people, and he's one of them that I would like to get out there with. A lot of times it's just scheduling. He had something I wanted to do in the beginning of the year, and then I had a conflict schedule-wise. RTL Paranormal, too, is another one out of the Virginia area. Ray Savino and Flip Searles, who have the group called Dead Is Not the End. They're ITC specialists. Definitely want to work with those guys. So.
Wow. You see? The list goes on and on, huh?
Yeah, well, you know what? The longer I do this, the more people that I meet that I either haven't worked with and admire or respect or and then you just want to, all right, well, what are they doing stuff or where are they from? We work with Steve and Pam Barry out of Gettysburg. Those are people I want to work with again, too. New Jersey Paranormal out of Central Jersey. He runs the ParaUnity Expo, which is coming up in May. John Ruggiero and Chris Theron run that. Another really, really talented group that runs good investigations and stuff, public events. And so, yeah, there's a lot of really cool people. Actually, last weekend, my son, who was going to be 13 in June, got to go in his first paranormal investigation. A lot of people I know who have kids who have investigated, they started at the age of 12, transitioning to 13. So it seemed like the right time. And then Mark Arvilla, who does Salem Con, which is coming up in April, super talented, smart guy, great investigator, and a really good-hearted guy. He set us up to go to the S.K. Pierce Mansion on very short notice. And so it was my girlfriend, Lourdes Gonzalez, myself, and my son on his first investigation, and then Marion and Laura who run the tours there. And so we got to go for his first paranormal investigation. And he's somebody I've wanted to work with for a while, my son, but I didn't want him being at his mom's house on a weekend and have her call me going, he's not sleeping and everything that makes a noise in the house is keeping him up.
Yeah, you got to kind of wait till they're ready. I don't know if there's a correct age. I think every kid is different.
Yeah, I just know a few people who started their kids at around 13, and so he's right there.
Yeah.
And he did great, and we actually started reviewing stuff, and I already caught an EVP on the first or second session we did.
And you said you did S.K. Pierce Mansion in Gardner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there. I love that place. It's beautiful.
Oh, it was. I couldn't believe I don't remember hearing of it before. I definitely never been there before. But wow, what a really beautiful place. And we had, just the five of us had the whole place for like 4 hours.
We were there 8 hours, I think. We were there I don't know. We left early in the morning. That's all I remember. We were there 2016, I think. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, we had, first time I've ever seen, we saw light anomalies, rod, I guess that's what we call them. They were rod shaped, and it's pretty cool. Never seen anything like that before and have not since.
Yeah, Mark was telling me when he helped us get in contact to set it up that it was a pretty active place. And so we already found EVP on one of the first sessions I started the review. I had a tablet in my hand running Echovox, and I know something bumped it, and I turned around and everybody was in front of me. So I don't know what, something hit the tablet when it was in my hand, and then a garbage can just rattled from the inside. And I think it was Marion was near me. We were both near the can when it did that, and we looked. There's no rodents or anything in there. Nothing else moved. I don't know if there's anything in the can, but something like a hard knock sound or something from inside the can made a noise. We were smelling cigarette smoke, and then it would go away. Then it would come up again.
It's odd in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, I was earning spiritual Marlboro miles without smoking or spending a dime.
Spiritual. That's funny.
Yeah, write that down. I'm probably never going to remember I said that or admit it, but spiritual Marlboro.
Yep, that's a good one. Yeah, I'm going to do a quick few shout outs. I like to do them in the beginning and the end because I can't always scroll all the way back. So we have Paranormal Talk Radio. Says, hey, Ron, signed in with my old radio show.
Oh, nice.
We have Roland and Cynthia in there from Raven Rose Paranormal. We have Wolf in there. We have Miss Kim, of course, Adam, Aaron, Cynthia. So thank you, everybody, for coming. And if you have any questions, throw them out there. Like I said in the beginning, it's Matt. Hi, Matt. Matt Haas. You were just speaking of him. Matt
Haas, yeah. I was saying all good things.
Yes, it was. It was all very good things.
And now here he is.
Yep. That's funny.
Actually, Matt does a fantastic show called Fifth Dimension. I'm actually going to be participating on that Sunday.
Oh, nice. You'll have to send me a link.
Yeah, definitely. He does a fantastic show.
Depending on what time, because my second show is Sunday, so no promises.
All right,
but
no worries.
I can always listen to the replay.
Yes, I was going to say that the replay is available, definitely to be able to listen to. And so
where can you find it, since you're throwing it out there? Where can people...
It is on YouTube. I will provide a link to you.
In there. Yeah, maybe I can put in where and what time it's at. Oh, Roland had a question. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate Kim is such a trooper. She's helping me with the chat tonight.
That's awesome.
Did my chat freeze? I don't see a question from... Oh, here it is. Roland says, I got scared by a mirror. It was a funny moment. Have you had something similar? I get scared every time I look in a mirror, but that's me. Roland, be a little bit more specific. What happened? Did you see a spirit? Did you see something that wasn't supposed to be there? Because of course my mind goes to me looking in the mirror. Other than that, I myself have never had that experience. Have you?
I did one thing at the Shanley Hotel in upstate New York, where it was like a scrying thing, where it did. Some people say your eyes were playing tricks on you. I don't know enough about the phenomena to really discount or debunk it or say, oh no, it's true. But I did stand next to my friend Dennis DeSone, and we both did the thing in the front of the mirror with the red light, and his face looked like an old man with a white beard, and he's very ginger red hair and no beard hair at all. He had a hat on. The hat seemed to be gone. My face looked like an old version of what my grandfather used to look like, with this little pencil kind of mustache thing. So if my mind played tricks on me looking at both of us, and I guess it did, that was the only experience I had with scrying, or anything to do with a mirror. The only other tragic things I've ever seen in a mirror were on the rear view of my car, and they happened behind me, but that was it.
I've only heard a little bit about scrying, and I've wanted to look into it, but I haven't had the time. And he goes on to say, I was kind of close. He says, I saw my own face. It was dark, and I thought it was a spirit. It's like seeing a mannequin when not ready. So it was actually him, but he just scared himself, I think is what he's saying.
Yeah, well, when you investigate, no matter how prepared and well-read and experienced you are, if you see anything like an apparition or you see something that kind of startles you, you still get the caca scared out of you. I mean, you can still be frightened by something. It's not like,
Yeah, I've only seen something one time, I saw a shadow person, and that's the only time I've ever, other than light anomalies, I've never actually seen anything with my own eyes. But I get more scared of animals and people than I do. But I'm not.
Yeah.
I saw Paul Dickson in here too. Hey, Paul, thanks for coming.
To add Paul Dickson to the list of people that I have not had a chance to investigate and work with, but I want to.
Me too.
He's another guy who falls under the same description I gave Matt Haas. He's super experienced. He's been doing it for a while. He knows his stuff.
Oh yeah.
He's really fun and easy guy to talk to and work with. And he calls me kid. And I assure you that my age bracket defies that comment, but I'll take it.
I love Paul. He was on the show a couple weeks ago, and he was one of the first teams I ever followed once I got into the paranormal, and I love them guys to death. Tina's going to be on the show, I think, at the end of April too. So,
oh,
love
nice.
them. Yep, love them.
Yeah, we've been playing calendar tag back and forth. We're trying to eventually set something up that we can do with Paul. So yeah, he's someone I want to be able to work with. And also, we were talking before off air. Tony and Sherry Rathman, who took over the old Phelps Dodge Hospital in Ajo, Arizona. It's now called the Copper Canyon Paranormal Research Center, which is a phenomenal place. Those are two people that I'm also huge fans of that we're friendly with, my girlfriend and I, and we want to at some point when we go back out to the West Coast, which hopefully we'll be doing this year. See if we can stop off and do something with them as well. Since I started in California over the last couple of years, on like around November or so, my girlfriend and I will take a vacation for a week and we'll go out to LA. And so I brought her to places that I was going to when I started. And so I banked probably more hours still collectively on the Queen Mary than I have everywhere else combined, which is my favorite place to go. I didn't see a shadow figure, but I did capture one in a photo there outside of the infamous engine room number 3.
Oh, cool.
I'm confident there was nobody standing there because I could see the doorway, and if there was somebody, I would not have taken the picture, but there was this robed black shadow figure in the door hours later when I saw the photo, and it still creeps me out to see it. I'll show it to you. I'll send it to you afterwards.
You know what's funny? I did the USS Salem.
Oh, nice.
And I actually caught an apparition in a photo. It's the only time I've ever taken a picture. Something about boats, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. The Queen Mary has a lot of dark history. People don't realize how much it has because it was originally just a luxury liner before air travel was the way to go back and forth across the pond, as they say. But it was used as a troop transport during World War II. Hitler had a $250,000 bounty on sinking it, so they had these battleships that used to flank it in zigzags in case a U-boat tried to sink it, whatever. One of the tragic deaths about it was one of those boats zigzagged and got in front of it and didn't move out quick enough, and it got sawed off in half almost by the front of the Queen Mary. So, I think 350 sailors from that RSM Curacao, the ship that got sawed off, went into the water, and their orders, because it was wartime, where you keep going, we'll send another boat. And so some of those, close to 300 of those sailors who were in the water got sucked into the giant propellers, and it was just a dark time for that ship. Just that one instance alone. Then there were stowaways and people
Very
who would,
sad history.
Yeah. That's my favorite place to go. Consistently the most active place I have ever been. And hopefully he's listening. If not, I'll have him listen to the replay. If you watch Ghost Adventures or any of the ghost shows for that matter, David Omen's house, the Omen house where the Manson Tate murders happen.
Oh yeah, I've seen a documentary.
Yeah, David's awesome. David is awesome. I started again out there, and I would do stuff at his house, and he would send tour groups that were there for events to follow me around with a spirit box or whatever. So when we go back every year for vacation, I asked him the first time, I went, hey, you have an event or anything going on? He goes, just call me when you get here. So literally, my girlfriend and I go to his house and have dinner, and we'll bring dessert or we'll bring dinner or whatever. We sit around, shoot the crap for a little bit, and then he just lets us run through the house. He's got cameras running everywhere, so we can capture stuff, and we stay till 3-4 in the morning. He just lets us go, and when we laugh and hang out with him. Yeah, so every time I've ever been there, something insane, noteworthy happens. That's the most consistent place I've ever been.
We have a question too here. It was a while back. Matt has said, ask Ron about number 11, LOL.
That's here's how you know people love you. When they bring up the stuff that you wouldn't bring up, but you probably should.
Yeah.
We were in Gettysburg with, I think, the Seekers Club of Paranormal out of Brooklyn was with us, and our group, Island Paranormal. And so we had like a couple different locations. We had like a Masonic place and this other room, this guy's place on the second floor, and there's another room you have to go out the door and through the front to get to the other side of it, whatever. So we had like 3 locations going at the same time. So as groups will normally do, we had walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
And so that was the channel that we were supposed to be on. And I went to turn the volume on the thing up, and I actually hit the thing with the channel instead of the volume. And then I kept changing channels, going, hello, you guys there? Hello, hello? And I could not find the channel that we're on, and I probably didn't stay on one of them long enough to find them.
Right.
So then they were trying to radio us. They saw something on one of the cameras, and they wanted to, to have us come back in or whatever, and they could not reach us because I had the thing on the wrong. I was like on channel 1 or 2 or 5, and they're
You were on every channel but 11, right?
yeah. Reaching me was like trying to tune a radio under a bridge. They couldn't find me. So every time we do an event now, we use channel 11. It's 11.
That's when you pass and come back, that will be your safe word. That's how people will know it's you.
So that's the one piece of paranormal equipment that is not my specialty, is the walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
Human communication.
Yeah, that's my downfall too. Human communication.
Yeah.
We had a couple more people pop in chat here, and they're all saying hi to you.
Awesome.
Lourdes, is that how you say that?
Ah, yeah, she's sitting right here actually.
That's why I could figure out how to say it, because I already heard you say it.
That's how bad the relationship has gotten, is that we have to talk through a podcast.
Hey, been there, done that.
No, I'm kidding.
The best way to go.
You can argue with a delay.
There we go. She liked that safe word.
Oh yeah, the channel 11 thing. They got a lot of mileage out of that.
Yeah. It's how you know you're real friends, when you can make fun of somebody and be like, "Hey, don't forget this."
So it's funny, at that same thing we did in Gettysburg when we originally had to convene somewhere, Matt Haas, who's the leader of the group, told everybody to meet behind the one building by the white picket fence. And to this day, we still don't know where that white picket fence is. We were looking for the white. So every time I go anywhere and there's a white picket fence, I have Lourdes take a picture of me, and then I put it in a little group chat on Facebook going, "Hey, look, I found it. Here's the white picket fence."
That's funny. That's something I would do. Hey, look, I found it. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss any questions in here, but these guys love you. They love you.
There's a lot of really cool people. That's one of the things about being a part of this community that I've just gotten more and more attached to, is that so many of the people you get to work with and meet are really, really cool. So there's a group in New Jersey that's got like a core, but it's a lot of collaborators. Like it's like an unofficial like team called Unscene Paranormal, and so we're actually going tomorrow to York, Pennsylvania. There's a new speakeasy and some it just opened up within the last couple of months. It's run by Laura Cole Shuri, who does Haldeman Mansion, and so we're going out with Anthony Simonelli from Seekers Club out of Brooklyn, our group IPS Island Paranormal does stuff with a lot, and we're going with Haiti, who's also from Unscene, which is the group that we collaborate with out of New Jersey.
Right.
So we're actually combining people who may not have even really had the chance to work together before, but both of whom we love to work with.
That's awesome. That sounds like it will be a heck of a good time. By the way, you can swear on here. I have a rotten mouth. All the shows are marked explicit. I do have a rotten.
I said caca before. That's close.
Yeah, that's why it made me think of it when you hesitated and then you threw in a different word instead of what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. No, I was going to say something that rhymed with shit, but I didn't. I said caca. I was playing it safe.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised I haven't dropped the F-bomb yet. We're 25 minutes in.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so many cool people.
I try to be good, but it doesn't happen. Let's see. Oh, we have another question.
Awesome.
How do you feel about the SB7? And how do you take out the pareidolia effect?
Okay. I love the SB7. I like the SB11. I have a Memorex hacked radio. I bought the S box that Ghost Stop makes, which also seems to work really well. And I'm actually buying another one from a guy named Clowers, Jason Clowers, ITC. He's selling them on eBay, which is a really, really cool box. I love all of them. Here's the thing. It's hard to take pareidolia out of it because it's not a voluntary thing. You don't choose to do it. What you have to do is you have to your best judgment and discernment, look at evidence. I like to go with stuff like that with timing, relevance, and control, right? If you have control of the room and you know nobody in the room said something, like they say, like during EVP, nobody whispered, whatever, then when you get something, you can rule out the human element. There's nobody nearby. You can't whisper from 500 yards away and get it on a recorder at a whisper level. Plus, you can check the decibels on a waveform and see if it's under the level where human speech happens. With a ghost box, with an SB7, if you say, and this is something I've seen happen like at the Queen Mary, if you say, what's the name of the ship, the Queen what? And the word Mary comes out. First of all, when people say, it's probably radio bleed through. To me, that's the first sign that they don't know how the device works. Or somebody explained it to them and they were too busy trying to think of their next tweet. Because when it's sweeping through frequencies at 100 milliseconds, 150, whatever, it's not on any station long enough to get...
If you're using it right, yes.
Right. If it's sweeping, you're using it right. And that's all you have to do is just hit the reverse or forward sweep. Even if you sweep really slow, it's maybe more likely to get something to come through. But the other thing is the timing and the relevance, right? If it says chocolate and I asked for an ice cream flavor 2 hours ago, it's a little bit disconnected. The timing's not really there. But when you say, what's the name of the ship, and you say Queen what, and it says Mary, the timing and the relevance are spot on. Statistically speaking, what are the odds of that coming through clear enough, like at a Class A level, in the exact moment you ask for? And when people go, well, if you think it's radio, I want to know what radio station that is, because I want to know when they're doing contests to give away cash, prizes, and new cars, because I have incredibly great freaking luck. Because they said Mary in the voice I needed it at the time I asked it, when they don't even know I'm talking. So
you said that very well.
That's how I look at it. Is it proof that ghosts and all that stuff is real? No, but it is, by definition, anomalous. It is an unexplained occurrence.
Yeah.
And I've seen it happen over and over again, too, where you don't even say something. A lot of times with apps like Echovox, a couple of people from Unscene that we work with were doing experiments where they thought that the microphone on the device can record you, save it as an APK, as a sound file, and then spit it back out. So then when we ask questions now, we don't use the answer in the question just to kind of rule that out.
Right. That's a good point.
If I go, who's this, and I point at Lourdes and it says Lourdes, that's not coming through on a radio station, and it's not repeating me because I didn't say it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So some of this stuff comes with a certain level of judgment and discernment, and you have to know how they work, and then safeguard your results as best you can. And then, of course, pareidolia to me exists in where you're looking at maybe Class B, C, in audio.
Right.
When you hear a 2 or 3 syllable response, that could be cheddar. You're saying, oh, what type of cheese do I like? And it could be cheddar. It could be better. It could be, feta. It could be anything. You're not sure. That could be pareidolia. You might be trying to tune into what you want to hear.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if it's Class A, or if you ask a question, I've asked multiple choice before and gotten one of the responses back. Any one of them would work for me.
It's pretty cool.
And then we've also done
multiple choice.
Yeah, I did it. Actually, I'll send you the recording. I did it at the Beekman Arms in upstate New York. It was a place where George Washington had frequented his troops, did maneuvers on the front lawn. and it was using Echovox with a mini portal. It was like 3 a.m. There was only like 3 of us there. And I said, how did you travel? By car, by boat, by horse? And a woman's voice came through and said, very Class A, not by horse.
Wow.
So if that's pareidolia, then I need to figure out how to bottle that shit, put it in a pill, and sell it. Because I could have everybody saying what I want them to say all the time.
I think you worded that great. I really do, because, and I never heard anybody quite explain it that way, where the Class A, it's so clear, there's no mistaking it, but then you get further down where you ask for the cheese, like you said, and it could be saying better, but because you want to hear cheddar, that's a very good way to explain it.
Well, that's the thing too, is that everybody says that with especially I've had so much of this pareidolia stuff coming up in the last year or so. If you have a group of people and you ask a certain question, you're trying to say that everybody there is wanting the same answer and hearing the same answer. And then the thing I'm not big on everything's paranormal, and I'm not big on everything's not paranormal. I think if you go in as a skeptic 100% and you have an agenda to debunk, you're already 50% wrong all the time. Because people, first of all, debunk gets thrown around way too much. Way too much. If you can give an explanation, but you can't prove, you have created doubt, you have not debunked. If somebody you love got thrown into prison with the strength of the evidence people use the word debunked for, they would be pissed that they were getting locked up on the strength of that. So it's got to be more of a slam dunk than that. But with the, I forget where I was going with this now. With the, that stuff always gets me juiced because of the pareidolia thing comes up a lot. But the thing is that there's a gap, right? They go, you asked, what is my name? And it said Ron. And you heard that because you wanted to hear it. Okay. Here's what nobody on the skeptical side of the fence is yet able to explain that I've heard or know of. What differentiates the 100 times I say, what's my name in any kind of an ITC session, and I get Ron 3 times out of 100. 97 times I don't get it, but I want it all 100 of those times. Why does pareidolia not always work? What's the differentiating factor between when I hear it because I want to hear it, or when it just comes through, or why don't I hear it all the time? Because I always want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying pareidolia doesn't exist.
I'm just thinking. So
it exists. I'm just saying that people lean on that so much. They throw around pareidolia the same way WebMD throws around headache. Headache is a symptom of sinus infection, cancer, death by sword, death by chocolate, headache, runny nose. I mean, it's headache is a condition for everything, right? It's a symptom of everything. So they say pareidolia every time anybody hears anything because they want to hear it. No, it can't. It doesn't explain everything.
I think there needs to be a middle. If I'm not sure about something, I throw it out.
Of course.
I debunk a lot, but I also don't believe in. There's like some people. I see what you say. I'm also not running around yelling demon, demon. I think there's some middle that we all need to get to.
Well, and to me, I think the middle is being an investigator, right?
Yeah.
Like people go, are you a skeptic? I'm not a skeptic or a believer. I'm an investigator. Every time I go somewhere, even if I've been there before, I evaluate and assess the evidence based on the strength it provides me in that moment. I don't assume that it's paranormal or that it's not based on any previous experiences of mine or anybody else's that I'm with. I go on that specific time.
Yep. That instance.
Because I've been with a group before where they got something that was like a great EVP, and then one of the video cameras happened to catch somebody saying it. And then they realized it wasn't paranormal. But if they didn't have that camera, they would have thought it was.
Yep. That happens a lot. and you know, stuff happens, like, as long as it's not on purpose. I mean, I've seen people do that stuff too, but you know, we gotta be careful. That's why we do this for a reason. We go out there and we work hard and we collect as much information, as much data as we can, and go from there. There's no way to prove it is. There's no way to prove it isn't. So I think.
Right. You never try to prove to the people who believe this is all I'm going to say shit now because I'm overusing the word caca. There's no people who don't believe in this stuff. You don't try to convince them. You know, it's for a lot of people. It's a core belief, like politics, religion, or even like sports. You know, they're like they have a staunch belief and whatever. And that's
our job. I don't think it's our job as investigators. This is my opinion. I don't think it's our job as investigators to convince anybody of anything.
100%. Nah, 100%.
We do what we do because we're trying to find answers, not to convince somebody what is or isn't. Right.
The other thing, and you'll notice, you'll never hear, are there people that are not my favorites compared to other people in this field? Yeah, of course. Everybody, I love most people, but you'll never hear me using an open forum or posting stuff or I don't anonymously calling people out. You know who you are. I don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
If I have a problem, I'll come to you. But the other thing I think that's not healthy is that we all drink from the same well that is this community, but people still shit in the well that they're drinking in. People will accuse and throw accusations or whatever at other groups or people. This is hoaxed. This is fake. That's not real. Whatever. And what the problem is that to the community, and especially even to the people outside of the community, it makes the level of stuff that's not legit and being hoaxed or aggrandized, it makes that look like it's a larger problem than it really is.
Exactly.
Because they're slinging stuff at each other. So even you exist in this community and you're making it look bad to the community and to everybody outside of it. And then you want to know why this is still considered heavily to be a pseudoscience. Because you're discrediting the same field you're in.
Because their ego is in the way, and they need to be recognized so bad that they're willing to fake stuff and hurt this field by doing it, in my opinion.
No, that's true, and I don't deny that exists. I think the problem I have with that specific line of action is that a lot of people pretend to know what they do not. They say that this is fake or this is not legit or this but they can't prove it or substantiate it. They can just accuse it. And so for me, I might look at something you post or someone posts and go, I don't think that's legit. They may have faked it. But I'm not putting that out there because I can't prove it. I don't know. So I don't pretend to know what I don't. If you want my opinion, I could say I don't think it's legit, but I don't know, or I think it is.
If you ask me directly, if you send me a PM and send me something, I will give you my opinion. But I know something that it seems there's a lot of people on Facebook don't know how to do. It's when you're going down your newsfeed on Facebook, people, and you see something you don't like, you can just keep scrolling. You don't need to start trouble. Just why start? I agree. I'm not going to go out of my way to whether it's real, fake. Why?
I see that all the time. Somebody will just say, "Oh, this is not. It's this. It's a reflection of that, or whatever." And maybe it is, but you don't know that it is. You provided an explanation. You haven't debunked anything.
Yeah, and if you're not, that's why I would never. But I have people. If they send me something, I'll give them. This is my opinion, but I can't say this is what it is. I don't know. Number one, I wasn't there. I don't know the room. I don't know who's there. So who am I to judge a situation that I have no idea what was going on or what else is in that room except for what I see on a little tiny screen?
No, 100%, and that's my whole point. Is like even when you watch the TV shows, right? They're doing a session, and all of a sudden they make your presence known, and you hear a knock coming from another room, right? That could be a crew member drinking a Red Bull, whacking his elbow against the wall to provide a knock. Can I prove that? Well, am I going to go on in the post and go, this is this. It was probably this. No, because I don't know.
Right. I agree.
You could drive yourself crazy if you look at it that way.
Yeah. Well, even if you know or think that, why, I don't understand why people, I just don't, I don't understand. If you don't know for sure, why say it? And
That's all I'm saying. Can't we all just get along?
Yeah, I wish more people would. Let's see. We had a question. I think it was something about ask you about trophy because you answered the other one.
So that was another cool story. So just recently, I don't know if these are everywhere the listeners are listening from, but they have those like places like Knights of Columbus or whatever. So there's the Elks Lodges they have here.
Yep.
They have the big head of the elk on the wall. I guess that's when you have a lodge and you're commemorating this grand and elegant animal. You put its head on the wall. Okay. As if it ran through the frickin' wall going 90 and stopped there. That's what it looks like. It looks like it ran through the wall. But so we did this place in Lyndhurst, New Jersey, for football fans. It's right where the area near Giant Stadium and right by East Rutherford. And we were in the basement. We were with the Unscene Paranormal Investigation Group out of New Jersey. And one of the newer members named Cassie decides to, in what I thought was a really smart initiative, picked up, there were trophies and stuff on the floor in the open basement. The basement used to be a dance area, and there was some dark history to the place too, I believe. We don't know all the stuff yet. I guess they're still trying to dig up. It had never been investigated before. So she picks up the trophy and she brings it over, and we were running the S-box, spirit box, through the portal to clean up the sound a little bit. And she says, what is this, whatever, and then actually Lotus was with us, and she says, what is she holding? What does she have in her hands? And the word trophy came through. It came through a little bit less loud, but it's clear. And then everybody just kind of flipped out because nobody said the word. They just said, what is she holding? And then there it was. So those are moments when you talk about the ghost boxes and the pareidolia and stuff. It's, when it's that clear, it's hard to argue with it.
And right on point when it's, when it's
when you ask for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I like, we use a couple different types of spare boxes, and sometimes you get stuff that makes no sense and you just move on. But when it's something that you ask and it's right on point, I also love when there's at least one, sometimes two other things, whether it's a K2, whether it's the EVP, whatever it is. I like when you have multiple things happening because it kind of makes it feel more complete to me.
Yeah, no, that's what all the toys and gizmos for people who are listening who are maybe newer to this stuff, or that's what all that stuff is for. It's to corroborate evidence. You have the idea that all science understands that energy can't be created or destroyed, right? So those anomalous cold spots that people are feeling, a lot of times if that comes at the same time that something moves by itself, that's kinetic energy being transformed out of thermal energy, which creates the cold spot, then something moves. So if you have that and you have a change in the barometric pressure, you have a spike in EMF, all of a sudden you're flatline and it goes to 5.2 milligauss or whatever, then you have things that are corroborating that one piece of evidence. So you're getting multiple things happening at the same moment, which is hard to dismiss. That's why we spend all the money on the toys.
Right? Exactly. I am listening. Sorry. I'm trying to keep up with chat at the same time. That is why you have it. And I get excited the more it's corroborated through other avenues, the more I like it.
Yeah. I mean, some stuff. That's my son's cat.
My cat was talking a little while ago, so that's funny.
Did you see Captain Marvel?
No.
Okay, there's a Marvel character. It's a tabby orange cat that looks like this guy does. It's got this big octopus squid kind of teeth tentacles thing that comes out like a monster and eats stuff, whatever. They call it a flurkin. So that's what I've been calling him since I saw the movie. You're a flurkin. And some stuff too. Some stuff, by the way, too. Like you can't. You can't just dismiss that of hand. Too. The first time I ever went to David Ullman's house, there was like 7 of us standing at the bar area on his top floor. There's 2 floors that go down lower towards the exposed earth area he has. And so we were asking him how to get there. We didn't know where it was. It was our first time there. While he's talking to us, he has a movie poster with a glass front and a thick frame around it, and it comes off the wall in slow motion by itself, 1 hook at a time. Now, I've been to craft stores, I've been to Home Depot, Walmart, Target. That shit doesn't happen in the home decorating area.
Everyday occurrence. No.
It came off 1 hook at a time in slow motion, and we just stood and watched it. People were in complete awe. Like, I'd never seen anything like that.
That would be crazy to see, in a good way.
Yeah.
We have a couple questions here.
Awesome.
Wolf would like to know: is there a place that you will not go back to doing another investigation?
That's a great question. That's a really, really good question. That question doesn't get asked enough. Up until very recently, I might not have even had an answer for that question because I've loved everywhere I've gone. And even now, the one place that I'm going to give as my answer, I was supposed to go back in February, the beginning of February. Very sadly and very unfortunate, I lost my mom at the end of January. And thank you. And so to coordinate schedules with everybody to have some kind of a memorial service thing, it ended up being on the night we were supposed to go back to that location. So we did not go, but I believe I'm scheduled to go again in May. And that place, which does not disappoint, is the Hinsdale House.
Yeah.
Up in Hinsdale, New York.
Dan.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dan does a fantastic job with that place.
Yes.
Also, Wildwood Sanitarium up there, we've been to once before. But we had 5 of us it was the Unscene group. It was 4 women and me in the car. And that is the only place I've been to in about 8 years where everybody felt completely effed up in the approach to the house. Anxiety, irritability, nervousness, whatever. It was just, we were just all off when we got close to that house. Then what I believe shifted everything was when we went to pick up food, we came back to the house, and the one girl, Haiti, started joking around and getting a little goofy and stuff, and then it caused everybody to start laughing and joking around. I feel like we created our own energy, which was a lot more positive, and it kind of shifted everybody's mood. So I believe that helped because, probably the food a little bit too, but that place felt, the only time I've ever felt anything like that before was when I lived in Los Angeles. There was a period of about a month, though I was only aware of it the final week of it, that I actually had something negative attached to me.
Oh, wow. And
that was the last time I had felt like that. I had not felt like that since then until we approached the Hinsdale house. And I'm like, this feeling is very familiar and not one that I wanted to encounter again. But
you're not the first person or even the number 6th or 7th person that has said that about the Hinsdale house to me.
It's as a researcher from that point of view, it is phenomenal. Yep. Am I partly an idiot because I'm going back? Yeah, probably. I probably am. But there is something compelling about a location that delivers. David Ullman's house, nothing negative really ever happened to me there, but that place, every time I've been there, something noteworthy happened. And so no place guarantees evidence, but when you can go somewhere and you have a higher likelihood,
yep,
that's what you're there for. So you protect yourself and you do the best you can to not have any kind of a negative run-in. And it certainly was not like the attachment thing. There was just a certain anxiety that came in the approach that was very reminiscent of that.
For anybody listening that's new to the investigating side, I know there's at least a couple people listening on my side that haven't yet even started investigating. It's always a good idea, especially for a location like Hinsdale. Make sure you are well rested. Make sure your energy is high by eating before you go on an investigation. Make sure your intent is strong, so you can keep your wits about you. When you go to a place that energy can do that to you, you need every arsenal inside of you. You know what I mean? that can create, like you said, once you guys started laughing and, you know, some people say, oh, that's so inappropriate on investigation. No, it's not, because you have to keep your energy high. You have to keep your positivity about you.
Yeah, come on. It's so inappropriate. Listen, if you want to, it's so inappropriate. Find a cubicle somewhere, Microsoft.
Yep. I agree. There's a time and place to be serious, and there's always, you have to stay positive, and if that's what it takes, sometimes you just need to break up the monotony of the situation. You just sat in a room for 6 hours with no sound. But other times the team needs that. They need that energy.
Of course, yeah. It's called maturity. You have to know when to say and joke or when not to, you know, and then during the other times when you even take a little break in between or regroup or whatever. Yeah, I also always believe too that, you know, you're saying spirits come through, move this thing, go near this thing, light this K2 thing up, push with more energy, speak to us, talk to us. You're asking, if you believe in the spirit world and you believe that there's any modicum of possibility here of communication, you're asking them to use and put forth energy. So to me, the relationship's a little one-sided if you're not doing the same thing too. Put that energy back, and of course, if you believe the energy attracts like, you want it to be positive. So we had...
That's what I mean by intent. Set your intent.
Absolutely. We did a White Hill Mansion in Fieldsburg, New Jersey. That was on Paranormal Lockdown with Nick Groff. Built in 1723. That's 53 years before this was the United States. It's a very old, it's an amazing place. The first time we did it, Lotus and I were working with Bearfort Paranormal out of Milford, New Jersey, Robert and Sandra Bandoff, two very, very awesome people to work with. Robert is a fucking genius. He builds equipment. He's an airplane mechanic by trade, but he builds paranormal stuff. He could be the eBay of paranormal gear if he sold everything he had. He's got everything. He built stuff. And so we were there with a group of 10 people, also with Chuck Lehman of Chuck's Paranormal Adventures. Chuck would investigate by himself a lot because of his schedule he had. So 10 of us are at White Hill. We're in the basement in the bar. We're on Paranormal Lockdown. They had prefaced it by saying that it wasn't a welcome thing for a female to be behind the bar. And so we're down there close to the end of the night. And we've had K2s and stuff running down there all night. Nothing. No lights, no nothing. Robert decided to put on German folk music on his phone. German folk music would be an excellent trigger if you knew, and apparently he did, that the Hessian soldiers, which were the mercenaries from Germany that served with the British, had a heavy presence there. So he puts on the German folk music, and then all of a sudden the K2 starts flipping a little bit. So I started calling out patterns between 3 K2s, like this one up, then that one, and then this one, then this one, and this one, whatever. And it was doing it in the sequences we were calling out, which I know other people have experienced in locations before too, but it was phenomenal to see. But sometimes it just takes that one, and then we're all laughing and having a good time, and I think that all collectively really fed the moment.
It does, and I also think it's the way you ask and the way you treat the spirits. You can't go in demanding, and you know, I found, especially when it comes to like K2 and stuff, number one, I have no idea how much energy it takes for that particular spirit to light that up, or choose which one to light up, I should say. Like,
right.
What if they're tired? I don't know how this all works. So for me,
no, we don't.
I don't like demanding anything, you know. When you think it's children, I like playing, making it a game, and always explain the equipment and what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how it works.
Right, no harm in doing that.
I missed a ghost cat, but I don't know if it was Shanley Hotel or Hinsdale because they were going back and forth, and I missed.
Oh, okay.
I missed the final answer on which place it was.
So there is a ghost cat at the Shanley Hotel. I didn't capture anything for it, but there are people who have. So I have to send you. Remind me to send you all the stuff I told you I'm going to send you. I'm going to be the worst pen pal ever. Ever. Not too dramatic, right? So,
You can't be worse than me.
so when we were at Hinsdale, and so the group Unscene Paranormal Investigators out of Jersey, they went back up the day I told you that we had to go to the service for my mom, so we couldn't go back. And so the one girl, Taz, who's one of the founders of the group, tried to recreate the same instance, and she was not able to do it. She puts together a compilation video of here's our approach, and this is, this and that. And then she does this little spinning thing on the camera, and then she goes to where it slows down. It's just kind of a turn through the living room. And as it pans by the door that goes towards the kitchen area, you see what looks like a cat-like shape almost, but it's a black mass.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
Slither around the corner and go into the kitchen area. And so she says she notes it on the screen, but she didn't note it in a certain way the first time. So we all watched the video, and if you look away for a millisecond, you miss it. So we didn't even see it. And then we go, what are you talking about? Did we see what? So we went back and looked, and it's crazy. It's creepy. It's this black, I say cat-like because it's low to the ground. It has a certain, almost like a trails, almost like a tail would.
Excuse me.
But it doesn't have any hard line shape to it where you can go, I can denote with certainty that that's a cat. You can't tell. So she slows it down, and you see it kind of like slide around the corner. Nobody noticed it. At the time, there were no animals in the house. We were locked in there for the whole night, whatever. And when she tried to go back and try to create it with light and shadow, and I guess she did multiple attempts in filming it and spinning around, she wasn't able to do it. It doesn't look like something to me that would have been created through shadow with the light bouncing off or being blocked. Just because of the fluidity of movement, just wouldn't. It would be more choppy if it was light, or it would be a little bit more staggered. It wouldn't be that smooth and fluid, but it literally floated around like black smoke.
Wow. So, are you leaning towards, I know you said it's hard, you can't say, for certain, but are you leaning towards it being a spirit of a cat?
I think it's a possibility. From what I understand in the history of the house, there was a lot of animal slaughter or murders of animals on that property. So I would say that the likelihood is probably high on that. If it's not a cat, then it's something that might keep me from sleeping at night, because it certainly wasn't human with the proportions it had. It would definitely be something that was inhuman. If it was not cat, then I don't venture to think what it might have been.
So we'll go with cat, just so you can sleep at night.
Yeah, let's go with cat.
Let's go with cat.
So, it's definitely one of the creepier visual catches I have seen.
I would love to see that. Yeah, that would.
I'll send it to you. She actually reposted a video recently of the attempt to recreate it with the original footage, and then the attempt to redo it, and there's nothing happening. You can't. If there's a way to make it happen.
Which page is it on?
It would be on Unscene Paranormal Investigations.
I will try to look for it.
I think it's on YouTube. I can send that one to you too.
Okay.
Especially the recap one, because the recap one is short. The whole Hinsdale video is like 18 minutes, but that one was shorter. Nice. So that's the thing. Some evidence, I don't care what you believe or don't believe, some evidence is by definition paranormal and unexplained. It doesn't mean that it's a ghost. It doesn't mean it could be interdimensional, whatever. We were at a place one time, and someone was very skeptical of everything. And so I took a piece of paper, and I crumpled it up into a ball, and I whizzed it past their head. And I go, what was that? Oh, that was a UFO. So see, UFOs are real. That was an unidentified flying object. It didn't prove that little green men were inside it, but it proved that UFOs are real. So the point is, the phenomenon is real. What's at the root of it, or what it actually is by identity,
Amen.
That's the part that we don't know.
Amen. I 1,000% agree with that.
This stuff is not all imagined across the board through different encounters that people have and documenting it. It's not imagined. It's not all pareidolia. Our minds are not all playing tricks on us. If they did, we would be seeing things that we fantasize about or we desire, on a daily basis. It wouldn't just be spooky stuff, at a 1700s facility or whatever. So,
no, I agree.
We did. We like doing experiment stuff. The Unscene group has done the Gansfield experiment. We did with them and with Island Paranormal, we did the Estes experiment, which was originally pioneered in Estes, Colorado at the Stanley Hotel. That's where you can use it as a spirit box. We did it with EchoVox.
I've done that quite a few times.
Okay.
Not the Gonzo one. I can't do that for medical reasons, but the estate, is that how you say it?
Estes, yeah. Estes experiment, yeah.
I was spelling it in my head, but yes, I've done that.
We've done both. So we did it at Kingsland Manor in Nutley, New Jersey, which is a place that Island Paranormal Society has.
You want to explain for the listeners what exactly that is before you go on with your story?
Yeah, of course. In a nutshell, the whole point of the experiment is that for the whole pareidolia and you hearing what you want to hear, your mind playing tricks, to dismiss that possibility, you have the communications device. Either it's an app, we use EchoVox, or you use a spirit box. And the audio that it pipes out is feeding directly into a set of headphones that is being listened to by one person, or we did, in this one case at that place, we did two people with two different apps running into two sets of headphones. And then at that place, they actually have what's called a root cellar. Now, if you don't know what that is, and I didn't before I went there, before refrigeration was a thing, that's where you put stuff like, vegetables, stuff like that, whatever, to keep it cold. It's under the floor of the basement. So there's literally a door in the floor that you open up and you go down this little wood ladder and you're in this underground thing that's in the floor of the basement. So the idea behind the experiment is the person who's hearing the words coming through the spirit box or the app like EchoVox, that person says aloud only what they hear. For us, we made it like 95% clear. Something that's Class A or on the cusp of Class A clarity. Whatever you hear that's clear, you say. It takes the pareidolia or the hearing what you want to hear out of it because
you don't know the question being asked.
Yes, you have noise-canceling headphones on. You have only this app or box resonating in your ear. And so you're not privy to the question being asked by outside of the trap door in this case. You don't hear the questions. You just say what you hear. And so the idea is to see how much of the evidence that gets spoken matches up or corresponds with a question or something that was asked. So we've done that with Island Paranormal Society there at Kingsland. We've done it with Unscene in some places before. So the one time with Island Paranormal, one of the guys, Patrick, who works with Unscene also, he and I both went into the root cellar hole. He had headphones on, I had headphones. We had two different EchoVox tablets feeding into each of our heads. And somebody sneezed upstairs within the first minute of us going down there before we even started hearing anything really. And he heard, "Bless you," and he said it without having any chance of hearing the people above us. We're literally walked in this trapdoor thing, and he's got the headphones and the thing echoing in his head. And then there were what the time it was, like we said the time was 12 or whatever. So that's the point of that experiment is to take the hearing what you want to hear, hence you got that evidence part out of it.
We when we first started doing the experiment, we had never even used a spirit box. I was against spirit boxes for a long time until we started doing this experiment. I think it was Travis Hartford up in Maine that introduced us to it. And because I didn't understand how they worked, and if I don't understand how something works, I don't use it, period.
That makes sense.
So my sister was doing the experiment, the one listening, and we were asking questions, and she was throwing out some halfway decent stuff, and I'm like, okay. And then towards the end, he's like, okay, if this is really you, can you do me a favor and just say Mississippi? And she hesitates, but then she goes, miss me? And it was just like, that's kind of weird. So,
yeah.
He's telling you. So I was reading the chat. So, if you've never used a spirit box, I don't suggest you start the way we did because we've never used one and all of a sudden it's in our ears.
Yeah, I love it. I used to work with a group that would you have 2 minutes. They go, shut it off, shut it off. They couldn't train their ears to listen through the noise.
Yeah.
I fell in love with it when I started. One of the first places I did was the Glen Tavern Inn in Santa Paula, California, and it was it was Con. It was the Constantinos, if you know the very famous, now deceased, unfortunately, Mark and Debbie Constantino. So I did the investigation there with a friend of mine named Scott Latea, Chad Lindbergh from Fast and Furious, and he was on that show. I forget the name of it with John Penny.
He was also Ghost. What is it? Ghost something.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but yeah, I almost remembered, but then forgot. It
was Chad, and then it was Debbie Constantino. Mark wasn't there at the time. So there was like 30 people sitting around on the top floor of the speakeasy kind of place, whatever, at the Glen Tavern. And so Chad says, we're going to all say our names, and then it'll go around to them, whatever. So everybody says, hi, I'm whoever. Everybody around the hallway. And then it ends up, and Scott goes, hi, I'm Scott. And Debbie goes, hi, I'm Debbie. And then Chad goes, and I'm Chad. And not even 30 seconds, and it was one of the clearest spirit box things I've ever heard. The SB7 went, I know Chad.
Wow.
And I went, I don't know what that thing is, but I want one, and I want it now. And ever since then, I fell in love with the spirit boxes because that, to me, was amazing. It was clear. It was in the moment. You didn't have to go and review it later, even though you always record and review anyway. But
yes, exactly.
That was so clear. So I was like, all right, that's my thing. And then ever since then, ITC became something I just fell in love with. As much as I love EVP also, something about the ITC stuff, the immediacy of it, I guess. I don't know. Just
everybody likes the immediate response, but it's also easier to, for lack of better term here, carry on a conversation type thing with something that you get a response right back. EVP, somebody could be telling you, hey, I need help, or hey, I don't want you here, whatever, but you might not hear it until later on, at least with the spirit boxes. I think my sister got a spirit box that week that we were doing that. So we did the same thing. Once we used it and it was explained to me in a way I understood how it worked and what it was much easier for me to. Now we use it all the time.
Yeah, I love it. And so for people who don't know, the two schools of thought are either the spirits are manipulating the bits of audio fragments that are in the sweeping of the radio to form words, or the other thought is that they're surfing the sound waves, literally like a surfer riding a wave, and that's how the responses were coming through, riding the sound waves. It could be a combination of both. That's facilitating the communication. But when you get those responses like that too, and that's one of the reasons too I mentioned I wanted to work with I've done stuff with Flip Searles before, and his partner for Dead Is Not the End, Ray Savino. They do ITC stuff. That Flip is another guy. I don't know if you've ever worked with Flip Searles. If you ever get the chance to, you cannot do an event with that guy and not laugh. So if anybody's against having a good time and investigating, avoid it, because he's very good at what he does, but he's hilarious, and we laugh through sessions, and then we get on point and we do what you're supposed to do, and so actually we were at Gettysburg one time. My girlfriend Lotus and I, we were with Island Paranormal Society and Seekers out of Brooklyn, Seekers Club, and we got to the Gettysburg Ghost Exchange storage, which was run by the Barrys, before everybody else did. So Flip's like, hey, you go out in the back by the shed. This is all battlefield ground. Go out by the barn in there and do some EVP. And we didn't bring our gear because we were just meeting everybody. We're going to investigate later. So Flip goes to his car. He gets a recorder. He gives it to us. He goes, take this, go out by the barn. So we went out by the barn. The first question I asked, and again, this is, speaking to the quality and everything too we were saying earlier, I said, if you were military, what was your rank? And the first question, we went back inside and reviewed it on a burst session. There was a whispery male voice that went, Captain.
Wow.
And
we were just talking about burst sessions in the chat.
Yeah, they're great because you get the closer. It's almost like ITC where you get the immediacy of a conversation, or you continue a dialogue if you hear it.
Captain, that's pretty cool though. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you again. I just found
it funny. No. I have to stop and take a breath sometimes. I'm what they call chatty sometimes. But
hey, I like it. You're making this easy on me.
So, and the other thing that's fun too is with EVP. When I first started the group I was with, there was a woman who had the digital recorder with the headphones for the live amplified sound listening. So maybe something north of EVP, but disembodied, but not easily heard. You'll hear those come through. I've heard them at David Omen's house. Direct responses. I have a recording when he has a whole memorabilia thing for Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion in boxing, where the two of us were in the room, we're asking questions, and then she goes, maybe we should say it's okay, we're here, to talk or whatever, and then I hear a male voice, you can hear it, goes, I'm here. And immediately I responded, not even thinking, I was like, where? Because I heard it in the headphones.
And that's funny. Because you don't think, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, you don't expect to hear an EVP in the moment, but if it's at a level where it's like disembodied, you still might not hear it with the naked ear, but you can sometimes if you have the amplified sound. And that's one of the things when you go. Some groups are very territorial; they don't want you to do stuff with other people or whatever.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, well, I was with one of those, and I couldn't do it because first of all, you meet some of the coolest people. Some of the people I've named are not in groups that I'm in, and second of all, that's how you learn.
That's how you learn, yes.
That's how you learn. So you go to different places, you work with different people. That's how I found the live listening thing. The first group I was with, this lady's got the headphones. She's listening to amplified sound. We were at the Glen Tavern. It was the end of the night. It's like 4-something in the morning. We were split into two groups. The other group got tired, went to bed. One of the women didn't know that. And so she's like, we have to convene with the other group downstairs in the lobby. And so somebody else chose the words that were meant to say we outperformed them because we're still up and going and they went to bed. And she said, they're all asleep. We killed them. And then there's a male voice that she got on a recorder that she heard because of the headphones and went, I killed a man.
Wow.
And she played it back and I was like, what? How did you even know that happened? And then she explained it. I was like,
wow. That's pretty cool.
So those experiences too. I never ever. I don't know. Pretend to know more than I know. I know what I think I know, and I know there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. And so
I learn something new every day, and when I don't, I'm changing my mind about what I thought I knew. So
yeah, always. You go to we had a chance to talk and spend some time with Tony and Judy Sparrow. Tony Sparrow is the son-in-law of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Okay, so we went to an event where he brought Annabelle and stuff. His tech guy, Tim Dalton, great guy, very, very knowledgeable and fun person to work with. And just sitting down listening to Tony talk about the darker stuff, the demonic stuff. And then you learn stuff. And so that to me, I'm happy to teach and share and explain what I've learned and what I know. And maybe my knowledge will change and stuff I think I know now will be wrong later, or maybe everything's right.
That's how I think.
I don't know. But I will always take one of those opportunities. Brian Kano from Haunted Collector. Really, really fun guy to work with. You cannot work with him and not have fun. Also knowledgeable guy, very likable person. And all these different techniques and stuff, at some point somebody introduces you to it, and so that diversity is what makes this so fun to do. You go to historic places and see those kind of things, and these places are benefiting from ghost hunting. It's another thing I've always tried to get in when I have any kind of an audience to speak to, is that it's so critical that it's a positive side to the ghost hunting stuff. A lot of historic places don't get enough funding, if they get any, to keep them afloat, to put the new roof on, to weatherproof whatever, or fix the windows. But when you have paranormal teams coming in and renting these places, week in and week out, that's a revenue stream that they're not getting otherwise.
A lot of places. That's how a lot of places are doing it, and why they're doing it these days.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I know some places don't want to have the negative halo of all, paranormal stuff, and I get it. And maybe in certain instances, maybe it might be a conflict of interest with the nature of their business or their general audience, or their usual demographic that they cater to would be into it. Maybe it conflicts, but
overall, I also think that paranormal, the stigma is starting to go away in the mainstream with the paranormal, where even 20 years ago, it was like almost taboo.
Oh, 100%. It was.
So
it was definitely taboo too. It was definitely taboo too. That's one of the things. People who have had experiences. I have an uncle who's got two amazing stories of seeing apparition stuff. One was in it was right near Gettysburg, and the other one was somewhere in New Jersey at a fundraising thing. And the only reason I know that is because a couple years ago, at Christmas, at my parents' house, his son, who was a Marine, who was in from California, happened to go outside to have a cigarette. And I went out to get something from the car, and he knows that I did this stuff. And he goes, "Go ask my dad if he'll go to Gettysburg with you." I was like, "What?" He goes, "Just go ask him." And so when I asked him, his jaw dropped. Now, he had stories he never told me or anybody. And the only reason I know that is because his son said something, and then now, of course, he knows what I do, so I'm not going to judge him as crazy.
Exactly.
And then people will share it, but it's amazing to me how many people will only tell you this stuff once they know that you do this, but otherwise they wouldn't say anything.
You get that. Oh, I can tell you this. You won't think I'm crazy then.
Yeah, you're also crazy.
Yeah, I've gotten that too. I've gotten called crazy for all kinds of reasons. No, yes, but
there's a great line that I kind of always had this thought, but now that I've seen it written, Mike Ricksecker, who's Haunted Road Media, I think he's with. He has a series of books. Yeah, he's a great guy. His books are phenomenal. So one of his books, he says something that I always thought was funny. I kept it in my thought as a head, but when I read it there, it reminded me of people, including my uncle, who said the same phrase, which is, people will go, "I don't believe in ghosts, but I saw this thing," or whatever. Yeah. So what do you don't believe in, but that happened to you, and you still don't believe? You can say, "I don't know what ghosts are. I don't know, what it is," but
yeah. I've heard that too. Haunted Road Media. They're great over there.
Yep.
Love talking shadow people with him. If you guys ever want to hear great stuff about shadow people, he has a whole playlist on his Haunted Road. I keep saying he, but it's they. It's them.
Right, they.
His playlist on shadow people. Great. Very informative on shadow people.
Yeah. So many people in this field too are really knowledgeable. They have a specialty of something that they focus on more, or like Flip and Ray I mentioned with their Dead Is Not the End. They're ITC driven people, or the Constantinos were EVP people. But those, you get a chance to sit down and work with those people. It's fun, and you definitely do take away stuff from them, or you learn different ways to do stuff.
That's what this field should be more about, learning from each other. I think, like I said before, ego gets in the way a lot, but if you find the right people, keep them, because it's, oops, we missed a couple people. Leon has joined us in chat. Matt was there. Sorry, guys.
Leon.
Yep.
Does it show the last initial or anything?
Kish.
Leon Kish, okay. Because he showed up, I'm giving him his due. I'm so glad he did. He's the historian who runs and it's a long title with the Historical Society, whatever, for the Kingsland Manor in Nutley, New Jersey that I mentioned before with the root cellar, and we did the experiment.
Oh, okay, yep.
So if every place that was of historic significance that did paranormal stuff had a Leon at their place, the entire field would be a better place. He's super knowledgeable, super accommodating, and he's hilarious. And a lot of times he'd hang around and be part of the investigation with us. And then when you joke around and have fun, he's like right there with us, like slinging the sarcasm and stuff. And it's just
nice.
It makes the experience better. But so him and his wife run everything over at the Kingsland Manor. That's a place to, by all means, look it up or Google it. It is one of our favorite places to go, not just because it's about 20 minutes from home, because that always makes it nice.
That always helps, but the place is fantastic, and so yeah, he's a really, really good guy. He's
he's had a really good relationship with Matt Haas from Island Paranormal Society, so they've been in cahoots as a partnership for a number of years now, I guess, with that location. And man, what a fun place. That place, always another place that's really pretty consistent on delivering with evidence.
He said when the chat is actually 15 to 20 to 30 seconds behind what we're actually talking about. So as soon as you started saying nice things about him, he says, everyone should have a Leon. Then he says, check's in the mail, Ron.
He didn't say it was coming to me. He just said it was in the mail.
True.
See, it's all everything's in the details.
Very true. If you guys, we have about 9 minutes left. If you have any last minute questions, get them in there. I don't want anybody to miss out, so I like giving a little heads up. This went by quick. It's almost 9:30.
Yeah, I know. I'm chatty. That's the thing is I've been on the interviewer and the interviewee side of it, and so the worst thing that can happen between the two of us is dead air.
Well, yeah, dead air does kind of suck, but it makes it's hard. I'm trying to word this right. It's really difficult when you're doing an interview and you ask a question and you get like the yes no, like yes and that's it. So this has been really, not that I've had too many of those, but I've heard interviews like that.
It happens. Yeah, I used to interview professional fighters, and sometimes you get that no kind of.
I know, we didn't even get a chance to get into all that stuff.
Well, I did commentating. I did cage side and ringside commentating, where you call the action live for boxing, for mixed martial arts, which what the UFC is. It didn't work for the UFC, but that sport where they fight in the cage. I did stand-up comedy for a number of years, which is why I'm part clown. And, of course, the ghost hunting stuff. So I've done a lot of things that people are afraid of. Paranormal, public speaking, and professional fighters. And the fighters are probably scarier than most of the paranormal stuff.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, yeah. I believe that. Leon says, we learned from you through each investigation as well. You uncover information that feeds my interest and adds to my knowledge of the Kingsland Manor.
Yeah, there you go. That's the kind of classy guy he is. It's a fun place, but really, you know, when someone like he's got the history of that place down, and it's just, I love that stuff because I always liked history. So going to these old places and learning that stuff is always fun. You can do your own research, but
yeah, it helps because he obviously has. Did you say he was a historian?
Yes.
Yeah. So he really knows. Like, you don't have to worry or doubt what he's saying because that's what he's supposed to do. He knows this stuff.
Yeah, we've actually got evidence out of that place in the last time we were there, doing a ghost box session, the S box with Portal, and we got, I think it was the date April 7th, and we got the name, I think it was Ingrid. And so when Matt Haas from Island Paranormal ran that stuff by him, it turned out that there was one of the Kingslands who was date of death, their date that they pass on, I believe in the house was April 7th. It matched the date that we got. And then there was one of the Kingsland's grandchildren or somebody was married to a female whose name was, I might be wrong about Ingrid, but it was, if not, that was the name or close to it. And it was that name was the name of a female who was married to one of the grandsons, I think, so the Kingslands, whatever. And I believe she had a presence there also. So,
see, that's great when you get something and you can go back to the person and be like, hey, does this make sense? And it like you said, it made sense to him. He knew.
It had no meaning to us in the moment other than it was clear, but we didn't know the significance of those words or the time or the date. Or
Kelly McCarville has popped in to say hello. I'm so jealous of her right now, though. She gets to go to HauntedCon. And I am being very nice, Kelly. Kelly's the other host on the show normally. Aren't I being on my best behavior, Ron?
You're being fantastic. Yeah. There's been no. We haven't badmouthed anybody. How much time do we have?
5 minutes. I haven't even dropped one F-bomb tonight.
I said caca a couple times, but that,
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yep.
That's
And
Spanish for caca.
You said shit once or twice, but when you got bored with the caca.
That was just English subtitles for the caca part. I wanted to make sure that there was no gap in communication.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Nope. That's about it. We can round. I'm trying to read at the same time. If you haven't noticed, not my
I can't do that.
suit. I've been struggling. I did better tonight than normal. So I thought, that might have been my cat meowing that time. I'm not sure.
Yeah, mine's not near me now.
Yeah, mine's. Sometimes he thinks I'm talking to him and he talks. Oh, thank you. I'm going to do some shout outs here.
Yes.
Like I said, I like doing them in the beginning and end. So we have the beautiful Kelly McCarville. We have Kim Purvis. Kim, thank you again for helping with chat. And it actually really did help saying, hey, you missed a question. It helped me out a lot. Of course, we have Lourdes and Wolf. Paul Dickson is in the house. Leon, thank you.
Yeah, Leon's awesome. Paul Dixon's awesome too. We are going to set something up this year to investigate with him. That's for sure.
Yeah, him and I keep talking about it too. Like I said, Tina's coming on the show. I think the end of April, which I can't wait for. Let's see where else. We had Matt in the house. I can never scroll quick enough. We had Intuitive April, who I just met on Twitter this week.
She's awesome.
So nice. Yes.
Intuitive April is as advertised. She's really.
That's what your girlfriend said. Yeah, she said she's.
Yeah,
great.
She's really good. And then again, you like the same thing with collaborating or being part of people with certain energies and stuff. She's like a one-sided battery. She's all positive.
Yeah, I noticed that. I think it's this week, maybe last week on Twitter. We just started following each other, and
yeah, she's great.
I know I'm missing people, guys. I'm sorry. We had Cynthia rolling, but that's why I do in the beginning and end because I can't scroll all the way back.
Mm-hmm. Just quick shout to the news team from Paranormal 13 News to Julie Rose, Jessica Rainville, Kadrolsha, Gina Bankston, Kimberly Michaels. I think I got everybody. We all worked together for the first time, at least for me, because I was new to the second season at the Northeast Comic-Con, and they were fantastic to work with, and we had a really good time. So
they seem fun. They really do.
Yeah.
I follow one or two on Facebook and saw them in person and from a distance. I was really sick at the event that I was at, and I was kind of staying in the corner. If it wasn't so far away from home, I probably would have went home. I got really sick, but I was watching from a distance. They seemed so fun. Oh, thank you. I do the best I can. I miss you too, Kelly. So,
I do too.
Yes. But I don't blame her. If I could be at HauntedCon, I'd be there too. Do you have anything coming up that you want to plug that you haven't already, or do you want to tell people how they can get a hold of you? Anything before we go?
Sure, I appreciate that. Well, definitely, I have a presence on Facebook and Instagram. Mostly Facebook, really, under my name, Ron Yacovetti. And also through Unscene Paranormal Investigations, I'm working on a show where I do biographies of people who are paranormal investigators. Like you mentioned earlier, it used to be taboo. Now there's a lot of people getting involved on a yearly basis. And everybody's path, everybody's intro into the field is almost as unique an identifier as a fingerprint. Like it starts with an experience, but what those experiences are can be very specific to that individual. So I thought of trying to do something that kind of just as a brief chronicling of how people who do this became so passionate or involved to be spending their time and money on something like this. So that's called ParaNORMALity. It's when the paranormal becomes the normal. And that will be, I'll be rolling those episodes out soon. We're still in the production phase of that. And then also, of course, this weekend we're going to the Speakeasies in York, Pennsylvania, as well as a couple other buildings, I think, in that spot. with Laura Cole Shuri, who runs Haldeman Mansion out in Bainbridge, which is another awesome spot to go. And then I know I'm going to forget. Oh, I'm doing the Fifth Dimension podcast show with Matt Haas.
That's right. Yeah.
And his partner. That will be available on YouTube. I can post the links to that. That's Sunday. Sunday evening.
Yes.
We'll be doing that.
Send them to me and I'll share them for you.
That would be great.
Because although we covered a lot, don't get me wrong, but we didn't get into we would need like a 6-hour show to get into everything that you're up to.
I'm chatty.
Hey, I'm not complaining. Hey, you know what? You'll just have to come back and talk about the rest of the stuff sometime.
I would do it. I had a good time. I would definitely.
Yeah.
I would definitely do it.
Hey, I wouldn't say it on air if I didn't mean it.
No, I appreciate it too. I appreciate the opportunity to be on, and anytime you get to do anything like this and have an audience and talk to people and interact with the host and stuff, especially someone like yourself who knows this stuff, who's been doing this stuff, we can get together with friends and just shoot the shit and just talk about this stuff ad nauseum for the whole night. So
exactly,
it brings us together.
It does, and when a conversation goes this smoothly, it makes the time go by quick, and it's enjoyable, and you'll learn something. And I got to meet some great new people in chat. Your girlfriend seems like an absolute sweetheart.
She is, yeah. She's one of those people who, if they don't like her, you wonder why. She's very, very good natured, very easygoing, and very to be, not because she's my girlfriend, but she's really, really talented and good paranormal investigator. She's been doing this since I dragged her into it 2 years, give or take, almost 3. But I mean, she's got a level of savvy and knowledge to protocol and how to do certain things and what to maybe try that I've seen people doing it much longer not have. So I think there's a level of student of the game that helps that process along.
Next time, bring her along. Have her join the show.
All right, absolutely.
I would love that. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap this up. I mean that, though. Seriously, you're welcome. Come back. Bring your girlfriend, because I love talking paranormal. Let's see. I got to do a couple ownery things. That's what I call what I do. Except I forget. Oh, tomorrow night, Into the Abyss with Peggy Gypsy. She has Sean Austin on the show, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. Should be interesting. I hear that it's going to be quite the show. So, Sunday, who the other host just popped in, the awesome psychic Jen B. Thank you for coming, Jen. Jen and I will be talking light anomalies, maybe with a little bit of orb type stuff, if for a lack of a better word. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. So join us then. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything before I sign out. You are very welcome. Okay, Ron, stay on the line 1 second. Thank you, guys. Good night. See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and for all things Paranormal Buzz Radio related, check out our website at paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram.